Hi everyone, my name is Julie Stigmeyer and I work with GSCP in writing support. I wanted to share a video with your class to give you some tips on accessing writing support and using APA formatting. So let's get started. In writing support, we work with any GSCP student on any project, from literature reviews to intake reports to even personal statements if you're applying for doctoral programs. And we work with you at any stage in the writing process. So that can be from brainstorming to drafting and outlining to looking over a final draft. This is the link that will take you to our website, which looks like this. This is the community page. From here, you're going to click on My WC Online to sign up for writing support. And what this means is you can directly access our schedule. So you don't have to contact us directly. You can just make an appointment and then we'll get in touch with you regarding, the specifics of our appointment. You'll need to use your Pepperdine email address to sign up. And this is what it looks like once you've logged in. And you'll then have to choose which type of appointment you want. You can either have a tutoring appointment where we would meet together on Zoom at a time that works for both of us. And during that session, what we would do is discuss your paper, talk about any goals you might have regarding our time together, like sections you might want to specially review, that kind of thing. Or you can sign up for written feedback. Written feedback is just as it sounds. We don't meet together. It's just an asynchronous slot in our schedule where you would sign up and then we would download your paper, review it and give you feedback, and then upload it for you to review. So you can decide which type of appointment you'd like. I do recommend planning ahead, starting to work on your papers as soon as possible. Also, consider making tutoring appointments, especially at first if you're new to writing support. Over written feedback, it gives you more flexibility on making appointments. It gives you more flexibility in whether or not you have to upload your paper right at the time you make your appointment. So you can do that later if you sign up for tutoring, whereas we ask you to upload your paper right at the time you make an appointment for written feedback. GSCP students are allowed 2 tutoring appointments per week and 1 written feedback appointment per week. Okay, so let's talk about APA. For students, you only really have to be concerned about these 3 sections: your title page, text, and references. So I'm going to go over those. We'll begin with the title page, and this is a screenshot of the top part of a sample document, which I have shared with you all via email, and I'll share with your professor once more. So what I've done in this presentation is I've just taken screenshots of that document and then I'm pointing out various things about it. And I recommend that you use that as your template for all your assignments that are required in APA. So here's what it looks like. This is the title page. There's no running head. So if you had any past experience with APA, you know that you had to put your title up here in the top left. You don't have to do that anymore. Now, the only thing you need in your header is your page number. Then you include your title, bold, centered, and in title case, which means that all the main words are capitalized. You can see here that and in are not capitalized because they're not main words. Your name comes next. Then you have your institution. So you'd probably put GSCP, Pepperdine University, whatever your course number is, and the course name, your professor's name, and then the date. Usually students put the date of the due date of the assignment, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's the title page. Let's go over your text. So I wanted to review, first of all, what the text looks like as a whole. You continue your page number. So this, we had the cover page or the title page. That was page 1. Now we continue with page 2. And you can see the page number continues up here. You include the title exactly as you had it on your title page, bold, centered, and in title case. You do not label introduction. You have 1-inch margin surrounding all your text. Have double spacing throughout the document, from the title page all the way to the end of your references. And then the last thing I wanted to point out here is the first line indentation. So in APA, instead of having maybe like blank lines between paragraphs or that kind of thing, you instead indent. So every new paragraph is indented. So be sure to hit that tab key in case you're whatever system you're using, Google Docs or Microsoft Word, in case it doesn't automatically do that. So this is a screenshot of the same part of the document, but I'm highlighting it in a more specific way by talking a little bit here about in-text citations. So whenever you include reference to any outside sources, you will refer to those sources, or rather give credit to those sources, in 2 spots. One is in an abbreviated in-text citation within your document, within the body of your paragraph. And then the second is you fully explain and describe the source at the end in your reference page. So these are called parenthetical citations. And what this means is that you give all that in-text citation information within these parentheses at the end of the sentence. And what I have here are 3 examples which show what it looks like when you have 1, 2, and 3 or more authors. So with one author, you just put the last name, no initials or first names. And then the year, that's APA style, always includes the year. For 2 authors, you have the last last names of both authors separated by an ampersand. So that's the and symbol with the year. Then when you have 3 or more authors, you put the last name of the first author, and then you include the abbreviation et al., which means and the others, and then include your year. So I wanted to review one quick thing, which is the difference between quoting. Quoting includes the exact words of the author with quotation marks in the text and citing the author, whereas paraphrasing uses different words to express the same idea of the author and citing it correctly. So in these 3 examples, we have paraphrases. You see there's no quotation marks, and that shows that these are just paraphrases. The reason why I bring that difference up is because you cite them a little bit differently. But before I show you that, I wanted to just mention that in general, not only in the APA manual, but also for graduate level writing in general, paraphrasing is usually preferred. And I have seen on one professor's syllabus, I don't remember who it was, that the specification was you can quote, but you can't use more than 5 words from the quotation. So you shouldn't be using block quotes, which are like 40 words or more, where you would indent the whole little paragraph of quotation. And consider quoting very, very sparingly. Like if you have 5 or 6, maybe 7 quotes in a paper or references to studies, like 6 out of 7 of those should be paraphrased. So just keep that in mind as you move forward. And the reason why that's significant with regard to in-text citations is because when you quote, so here you can see the quotation marks, you do need to add the page number. So you put the author or authors, the year, then a lowercase p and the space, period, space, and then the number. Whereas for a paraphrase, you don't usually need to keep or include that page number. I also wanted to point out a different type of in-text citation that's very common. And this is just another way to cite your sources in your citations. Neither one is preferred, but let me just point out what this is. So the first one was the parenthetical citations, where you just put it at the end of the sentence. Here, this writer has included the names of the authors within the text of their sentence. And you can see there are 2 examples here. The first one is a paraphrase. The second one is a quotation. And you know that because of a couple of things. Of course, here you see the quotation marks. Also, at the end of this sentence, then we have the page number. So that's how you'd correctly cite that. But notice that in this case, you put the author's names, then immediately you interrupt the flow of the sentence and put in parentheses that year. Think of it like a magnet where you have the author and the year, and they always go together. One other thing I want to mention about your text. So I talked about in-text citations, talked about the formatting. The other thing I'd like to encourage is use of headings. And headings are those like sub titles kind of within your paper that show the major sections within it. So this paper is all about guided meditation. And the first section of this paper, the first major section, is about progressive muscle relaxation. So as the reader, because this is centered and bolded and in title case, that's our first level of heading. And I immediately know, oh, here's a big major section coming up. And that helps to keep your structure very clear in the mind of your reader. It also helps you to make sure you're organized. Then you have a second level of heading, which shows how you break down that big section. So maybe features of progressive muscle relaxation. Maybe you have another section of benefits and another one of limitations. So in each of these cases, you would pull the subheading, that second level of heading, back to the left margin, but keep the bold and title case. Let's talk a bit about references and then we'll wrap up. So this is what a reference page looks like as a whole. You include references in bold, centered at the top of the page. And then if you notice here, we have something called hanging indent. So unlike first line indentation, where you begin each paragraph by tabbing in, here it's the opposite. The first line is pulled back to the left margin, and then the second and following lines are indented. And this, the effect of this is you can see that the names of the authors are kind of stand out. So you'll have to set up your reference page in hanging indent, then make sure you order your author's last names by alphabet, so A to Z. Continue your double spacing, as I mentioned, throughout the whole document. And then one other thing I wanted to point out here is you can see there are a lot of blue hyperlinks, and that's actually preferred as much as you can to make hyperlinks within your document. And you'll also notice that there are several, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one that have doi.org web addresses. So as much as possible, try to use that as well. Look for the DOI number on the article. DOI stands for Digital Object Identifier. And what this is a place that houses permanently a lot of scholarly articles. And you'll notice that there's like the number 10 and then 4 more digits and then another set of series of numerals and sometimes letters. So you just copy whatever that is and then you make it a hyperlink, and that's how you'll set up your references. Here's a little bit of a close-up of that. This is how a book reference looks. So on your reference page, depending on what type of content you're using, that's what you use to set up the reference. So you can see that this book looks a little different than these articles. So I'll send a document that helps you to find, actually, I think, yeah, I'll send that to your professor with the link to find examples of all those types of references. So please get in touch if you, excuse me, if you need any help with your writing, or if you have any questions. I'm always happy to answer emails. And I hope this was helpful for your class, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.